welcome to the Wow Words of Wisdom
with the Washingtons.
Today we're coming to you live with our friends sitting around. We have some special guests in Blue Ridge Mountains. Hey!
All right.
So our topic today is there's something in the struggle. You see that word struggle, a lot of times we want to look at that word as a negative type connotation, but today we want to look at struggle as there's something in the purpose. So in the Bible it states that we must come together in agreement. So we want to look at struggle as when we having these challenges, because we know it's going to happen because we all been talking about them all weekend, but how can we get through these struggles and challenges together? So me and my husband, we like to say we're opposite of each other, because we kind of mentioned that today, opposite attract. But God puts you together for a reason, because we have different abilities, different skill sets. So we have to learn to pull from each other's strengths and weaknesses. And when you're pulling from each other's strengths and weaknesses, you build each other, because where one person is weak, the other person is strong. And so that's what we want to talk about today is when you think about your strengths or weaknesses, think about your spouse's strength or weakness, and how could you help pull them together, or what are you doing to help pull them together when you know that's a weak area for them?
Amen.
So that's a question I'm posing to you all. Okay. Yeah, go ahead. You can hear it.
No, but you
Oh, yeah. What's the strength or weakness? Think about your spouse and think about their strength or their weaknesses, and what is it that you're doing to help that strength or weakness? How do you like, if you know that's your spouse's weakness, what are you doing to help uplift that? So for instance, one of my weaknesses would be the cooking. Everybody know I'm just not the cook. And in the beginning, my husband, he used to complain a lot about it. I mean, real talk. He just used to complain about it. When are you gonna cook? When are you gonna do this? You don't put any love in it. And I used to say, I'm just staying in my lane. Cooking is just not my thing. Give me some numbers. I'm gonna run the numbers down for you. But the cooking thing, hands down, that's his thing. And I know earlier Winnie had made a comment like, he's just so happy doing it. I'm like, see, that's what I said. It's not my thing. But so if you think about that, what did he do? One of the things that he did was he was like, you know what? I know you have a lot on your plate. You come home from work, you're stressed out, you're tired. He said, you help the kids with their homework, and I'll take care of this end of it, which made the marriage even better, because now he's understanding that it's nothing that she's just trying to do intentionally, like she just don't want to do it. It's just that it doesn't drive her. It doesn't. It's the love, the peace. Because he's like, if I'm gonna eat, I want to eat something that was made with love, And that's just not me. Speak on it.
Amen. To God be the glory. But yeah, it was a struggle at first, because I grew up with a family that it was 13 of us, big household, and we all cooked, and we were cooks, and we were taught though women are supposed to do the cooking, and to marry someone who don't do that, it was kind of tough. But in the beginning, she cooked a little bit, a little here and there, but we were going out a lot. So when we really got married and the kids came along, it's like I'm like, man, it was a struggle for us, because I was like, man, you doing this on purpose. If you really love me and you should be good, why you don't do it? But we had to go back and think about how we all was raised. Her mother did everything for her, as far as cooking and washing the clothes and stuff. So in turn, that made her not like doing that. But where I came from, we did it. So it was like nothing to it. So we did come to a point where, like, you can do that, but you do something else. I'll have the cooking, because like you said, if it ain't right, I don't want no steak with no blood. I'm not gonna eat it. I want it well done and done right. So how about I cook it, and I'm gonna do it right, and you just do those things and make me happy. That's it.
So it sounded like some communication had to go on, right?
Yeah.
And learning each other's strengths and weaknesses, and how can we make them work for the marriage. So that's what I'm saying. Think about what is something that you're doing with your spouse to make it work for the marriage that was once an issue for you, but you found it to be like, here's how we can work through this?
I think for us, a good example would be Stanley along our marriage. We realized that he's better with saving money and putting money to the side. You know, he's thinking about the future. You know, gotta have 401k. We gotta, think about, we gotta plan for the future and make sure that, we're good later on down the line. Whereas with me, I'm looking at what's going on right now. The bills need to get paid right now. We got the mortgage, we got, cell phone bills, we got medical bills, we got all of these things, that are important. So in my mind, I'm trying to work through how can I save when I know that these things need to be taken care of. So what we had to do was to have a conversation, and he, communicated to me, look, I'm going to make sure that we're doing the saving piece of it, and along the way, as you're doing, making sure that the bills are getting taken care of, and you see that there's extra, then you can contribute to what I'm already doing. So instead of, me, I know, like I said, I'm stronger with being consistent, following up, making sure this bill is paid on this day, knowing all of those things. And for him, that wasn't as important. And so instead of me trying to give him that responsibility, when he's already made it clear that, yes, that's important, but that's not necessarily a priority in the future, let me focus on what I feel is more important for us in the future, and you focus on that, and let's just communicate, okay, so did we get this taken care of, that taken care of, so, how much can we put towards the savings now? So I think, it was kind of difficult at first, because in his mind, he was like, we need to be saving, but in my mind, I'm like, well, we need to be paying the bills. And so, we had to work through that and figure out, you're the stronger in this area and I'm strong in this area. You're weaker in this area because your focus is this and my focus is that. So how can we work through it and take my weakness, his weakness, my strength, his strength, and work through it? And I think, we're doing a good job working through that now. So we had to come to that common ground.
Yes, and that's what's so important, coming to that common ground, because what I'm hearing you say is there had to be balance. And when you're starting to communicate, then you find that there is balance to a lot of things, because what he's saying is important and what you're doing is important as well, but we got to find balance in it, and that's why we have to have that strong communication piece. Yes.
So I can kind of piggyback on a little bit on that in terms of finances. I have always been the big person. We got a budget, and set goals. My husband's like, he's a very caring person, and if he knows I want something or whatever, he's gonna, let's get this now. And I'm like, oh no, I know I said it, but not right now, because we got a budget, we got to put it aside or whatever. And so, to me, we struggle a lot with that. So initially, I would just kind of not say what I wanted, or just kind of just hide behind the line stuff, and then we would communicate, and those communications sometimes would turn into arguments or whatever, because but I felt that budgeting was a must, right? And so when I say budgeting, I'm saying financials. When I say budgeting, I'm saying with the household, your bills, your savings, your tithes, everything. So everything's inclusive. So and I'm like, we need this. So I realized that was my strength, not his. And so and I think we do come together. We're all different or whatever. And so whatever you can bring out as your strength and work on, and whatever he can bring out as his strength, you put it together. So maybe his strength was bringing in the money,
Yes.
And so maybe mine is the budget part of it. So if we put those two heads together, awesome. And so I think we are working through that. It's still a work in progress, but we've come a long way.
feeling like, I'm out.
Yeah.
I didn't sign up for this. But you don't know what you really signed up for, because life throws you a lot of different curveballs. But what I will say is, when you put God in the midst of it, God will start to align you. And when God starts to align you, you're going to start wanting the same things. You're going to start compromising with each other. The communication gets better. So one of the things that we had to learn to do was to pray together. And praying together allows the spouse to see and hear each other's heart. And it's not that I want anything bad for you, but this is the desires of her heart or his heart for the marriage. And when you start to pray together, then God's going to start to align you. And you're going to start thinking alike anyways. I mean, we could be in two different places. By the time we get home, we start talking and having conversation. I was thinking the same thing. I was just getting ready to say that to you. And that's when you start finishing those sentences for each other. Because God takes our differences. We like to call it strengths and weaknesses. But see, He purposely brought us together because He knows the greater plan, that we do not know. He knows that greater plan, and that's to bring us together. And so when we operate under Him, then we're going to shine naturally, because the gifting that He already placed down inside of us is starting to align. And when things align, people start to notice, man, they walk the same, talk the same, they even start to look alike. Have you heard people tell you start to look alike? Because a lot of people tell us, y'all look like y'all brothers and sisters, not husband and wife, But that's just that alignment coming together, when God is in the midst of it.
And you become more of a unit. It's like, you're operating as a team.
Yes.
And, we're working together and not against one
Yes.
another. We're understanding, like you said, what those differences are and those weaknesses, and how we can complement one another.
Yes.
Instead of competing, or feeling like, you're so different than me. You're not going to understand. But it's like, show me, so that we can work together and, we can complement one another.
Right.
Yeah. Well, you see, as we're talking about this, I want all of us to think about this too. Going through this struggle, the key thing is to go through it together. So, truth be told, just by being here with everyone, we've heard some stuff, but we're still here together. And a lot of people mess up when they don't go through it together. They pick sides, and then the argument starts, and we start doing all the negative things. But we got to stick together, regardless of what. And like you said, we have people dying since COVID. All of us went through something. Everyone sitting here went through something. But the key thing, the reason we're here, we stayed together. Regardless, this is a trip, but we did it with couples who stayed together. And I just want to say we're doing a great job, regardless of the things we're going through. So sometimes, like I said, the struggle is real. But at the end of the road, you just stick together. God will see your way through. It is like at the end of the tunnel. But see, we have so many couples who turn to the world. They take God out of the struggle. They turn to man. And that's what we mess up at. Thank you, God. But, hold on. but just a key point, I just want to read a scripture in Isaiah 43:2. It says, when you pass through the waters, it will be with you. And through the rivers, they will not overwhelm you. When you walk through the fire, you will not be burned or scorched, nor will the flames kindle upon you. And when it says the flames kindle upon you, it's saying that fire ain't going to always, that struggle is not always going to stay with us. One day it's going to be like when we're cooking. Guess what? Once that communication came, we work through that struggle. With y'all's situation, the finances, and even with y'all, it's getting better. But y'all fighting through together. And that's the key thing, is we can just stay on that track, and keep yourself surrounded with some true believers and people who are going to hold you accountable. Like, hey girl, hey man, get what you don't did, man. Well, man, we can't always take sides sometimes, because sometimes that can bring, sin in, division and all that. So the key thing I just want to say about that, we got to stick